Welcome back to my channel, Life with Tapa. Remember to follow the Tapa Now Black Flag Movement. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe, follow, hit the thumb button, and hit the notification button. Today we're going to be talking about the District of Columbia and Superior Court, their sentence regime, and pretty much what's going on with Superior Court. A lot of individuals don't even know that's actually incarcerated at this given moment. So if you got a loved one that's in federal prison and they got sentenced from out of the District of Columbia in the Superior Court, this is one of them videos right here you need to watch and listen to because this is very important. This video right here might could help one of your loved ones that's actually incarcerated. So therefore, you need to actually listen to this video right here because this video is very important. And also a quick shout out to Georgetown because you know they help a lot of the DC dudes and I appreciate that. Well, let's get to it. You know, the District of Columbia, anybody that catch a charge in the District of Columbia and it goes over here, they send them to the feds. Well, what the District of Columbia, actually the Superior Court specifically, what they was doing is in 2000 they abolished parole for DC prisoners. And once they did that, because they used to give DC prisoners two numbers, so they abolished parole in 2000 for DC prisoners and started giving them one number. Everybody that was coming in there was giving them one number. So what they did, when they abolished parole in 2000, they didn't have a sentence regime. Sentencing regime is like a chart that they goes off of where you fall into that category, that's the sentence you'll be looking at. They didn't have one of those. It took them like 3 years before they actually came in with a sentence regime. And because they didn't have a sentence regime, every individual that came off the road, off the street, and got convicted and got sentenced, they got over sentenced. And when the Superior Court came in with a sentence regime, they didn't actually make it retroactive. Retroactive meaning that everybody that was over sentenced basically have an opportunity to litigate to the court and try to get their sentence reduced to where they actually would have been fit in that chart dealing with the sentence regime. They didn't have an opportunity to do that because they didn't make it retroactive. Obviously, the Superior Court didn't see that there was going to be a situation like this where they don't over-sentence individuals and now they got a sentence regime, they're going to have to basically re-sentence all of them individuals and give them the proper sentence that they're supposed to get. They wasn't doing that. Like, for instance, my issue. I got sentenced in that same around the time. I got caught my case down there in 2001, and I got sentenced probably about 2002 or 3, and I got a record time. And I didn't see an individual with the same charges mine that got a way more time than me, and they don't really have no background. Then when the sentence regime came out in like probably about 2003 or 2004, them individuals wouldn't get the same amount of time that they got, neither me. I wouldn't have got that time that I had. And the time I had was 35 years. So therefore, and the Superior Court didn't make these things retroactive, where I could litigate to the court and get my sentence reduced due to the fact that I didn't fall into that category of getting a long sentence. So there's a lot of individuals from the District of Columbia that's sitting in federal prison and had a long sentence that they could have got a shorter sentence based upon the sentence regime that they have currently right now, that they're working off of right now. So what we could do about this situation, not too much, but knowing is half of the battle, because knowing that you've been over sentenced and you could have got a better sentence based upon the sentence regime that they have right now, because what the judges was doing, it was just taking all the things that the prosecutor put on the indictment, whatever Congress said that statute carries, that they was just giving you a whole bunch of time based upon that. They wasn't basically going by guidelines where they have now, where if based upon your background you don't have no priors and this is your first charge, you fall right here, you can't get no more than 8 years. They were just giving you any amount of time and 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and they wasn't going off of no sentence regime, which is very unfair, very, very unfair. When you're giving an individual that never been in prison in his life and you're giving him 120 years, but this man's supposed to only get 20 years. That's not fair. That's not fair. So this is just basically, this video is just to wake DC prisoners up that you can't sit in prison and not educating yourself about the law because that's what they want you to do. You have to basically stay on your case and actually study your case. Study the law. That means you can use the law to benefit yourself to actually get yourself out of that situation. Because when you don't know the law, you in a area that you won't be able to you're not going to have no advantage of basically getting out of your situation. You won't continue in your situation, and you won't be continuing in ignorance as well. So therefore, it's best to always know the law, study the law, know your case, and try to actually work your way out of that situation by knowing what you know. That means nobody can tell you anything different. So, just to be able to touch on this situation right here again too, about the Superior Court. Now that they done came out with a new law that's saying that you could litigate to the court, petition to the court to get your sentence reduced if you came in at a certain age. And this is going based upon what you got going on right now in prison. If you could show the court that you've been rehabilitated, as far as you could show them that you done took this program, you done did this, these are the things that you done did. The more you can build up the platform of that is very important. Very important, because the judges, they looking at these things. They looking to see what you done did in prison. And the best people who can basically profess to that is the people that are around you every day. Even the same prisoner that you're in the prison with is the best people to basically judge that, because they deal with you every day. So my advice to individuals out there that got family members in federal prison is to encourage their loved one to actually let them know what I'm saying. Have these dudes write letters, even if they can't write it. Help them to construct the letter, which is called character letters. If you could get officers, your teacher, your the officer that's in the block, if you could get them to write a character letter, that's very helpful when you petition to the court to get your sentence reduced. So these are just some of the things you need to know. You need to basically build up a platform of good things that you've been doing, everything you've been doing, so you could show these judges what you've been doing in prison and where you're going at, because basically a judge going to look at your background and see what you're doing out there, and then they're going to go off of that based upon what decision they're going to make. Either they're going to release you or they're going to keep you in. So these are just some of the things that I think DC prisoners need to know in order to actually break yourself from the chain and get free. You need to know these things. And if you got a loved one that's really love you and really want to see you back on these streets, they basically need to have these conversations with you, man, and try to encourage you to actually go in this direction right here. But that's just a little piece talking about the District of Columbia and the Superior Court and what they was doing. But now that we got an opportunity to actually move forward and petition to the court, if you came in at a certain age, from 20 to 25 or from 18 to 25, you could petition to the court to get your sentence reduced. These are the things that you need to jump on, but at the same time, it's based upon what you've been doing while you've been in prison. Because that's what the judge is going to go about, basically looking at your case and weigh if they want to go ahead and basically release you. But, if you like this video, man, just make sure you remember to share, like, hit the thumb button.